of Constitution Amendment Bill number 7, following a process that was highly controversial, deeply divisive, and fundamentally unconstitutional. Let me be clear. This process was explicitly found to be inconsistent with the spirit of the Constitution of Zambia by the Constitutional Court of Zambia. And this was in the landmark case of Celestine Mukandila and Munia Zulu versus the Attorney General. This is case number 2025/CCZ/009. The Constitutional Court did not speak in ambiguity. It declared that the decision by the government to initiate a constitutional amendment process before undertaking wide consultations with the people of Zambia went against the spirit of Articles 1, 2, 5, 7, 8, 9, 61, 90, 91, and 92 of the Constitution of Zambia. The process abrogated 10 specific articles in the Constitution. Not one article, but 10 separate articles. The court further guided that any constitutional amendment process must be people-driven, led by an independent body of experts and anchored in wide, genuine, and meaningful consultations with the people of Zambia. Despite this clear constitutional guidance, the government chose a different path, a path of defiance, disregard, and deliberate constitutional erosion. Fellow Zambians, civil society organizations, the Law Association of Zambia, the church, and citizens across the length and breadth of our country spoke in unison, spoke with one voice. And the voice was a rejection of the process that the UPND government had undertaken to arrive at Bill 7 and to further process Bill 7 into a law that today received presidential assent. They rejected the assault on the constituent authority from which the National Assembly derives its legitimacy, the people of Zambia. Yet, the voices of the Zambian people were ignored. We in the Patriotic Front, together with our partners in the Tonsi Alliance, listened and listened very carefully. For that, we have stood with the people, and we have remained steadfast in our historic duty to protect, defend, and preserve the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia, because that is a duty bestowed upon every citizen of Zambia by the Constitution, to defend the Constitution of Zambia. Let me state this without any hesitation. This constitutional abrogation could not have succeeded without the betrayal of the Zambian people by members of Parliament. The Patriotic Front has members of Parliament, and let me emphasize this. This constitutional abrogation could not have succeeded without the betrayal of the Zambian people by members of Parliament. Bill 7 would not have received presidential assent today had all members of Parliament stood with the people of Zambia. In response to the clear will of the people, the Patriotic Front issued a 3-line whip directing all our members of Parliament not to vote in favor of Bill number 7. our instructions were clear, lawful and unambiguous. Members were required to attend proceedings and to ensure that a no vote was recorded. For the record, the leadership of the Patriotic Front engaged with all PF members of Parliament on no less than 8 occasions. On 1 or 2 of those occasions, I had the privilege of the presence of fellow leaders of other opposition political parties, some of whom are represented here. And in that engagement with our members of Parliament, the leaders of various opposition political parties appealed to members of Parliament to stand with the people, to stand with the people in rejecting the unconstitutional Bill 7. The night before the fateful Monday, members of the Central Committee of the Patriotic Front had a press briefing where the national chairperson of the party, Madam Jean Kapata, issued a clear and unequivocal statement to our members of Parliament. That statement was carried live on social media and also published in the print media the following morning. No one, no member of Parliament can claim not to have heard the directive issued on behalf of the party by Chairperson Jean Kapata. However, fellow countrymen and women, the National Assembly of Zambia has to date, since Monday, today is Thursday, 4 days after the vote, the National Assembly has failed to release the division list of votes that took place during the deliberations on Bill number 7. On my left is a former Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly. And further on is a gentleman who has been in Parliament for a number of terms. On my extreme right is a former Member of Parliament. And next to him is a former Member of Parliament too. And never in the history of the Parliament of Zambia has a division list not been published within 24 hours of the vote being taken. The practice is always that within 24 hours of a vote, the official division list is made public. And yet, for Bill 7, 4 days later, the division list is being kept as a secret. The voting was not secret. And the voting in Parliament is never secret. Members of Parliament are accountable to their electorate. And the only way they can be held accountable is by the electorate being told how their representative voted. The hiding of the division list is not only unacceptable, but is criminal. The National Assembly is a house of record, and transparency in the dealings of Parliament is not optional. It is constitutional. It is actually a constitutional obligation. This is the reason why the taxpayers of Zambia pay so much to broadcast the proceedings of Parliament. And no proceeding of Parliament can be made secret except on one instance, when parliamentarians are debating issues to do with Parliament. That is the only exception. All other matters before Parliament are open to scrutiny by the public. We therefore demand that Speaker Nelly Muti, I hope she has recovered from her dancing, that she must release immediately the division list. The people of Kabwata would like to know how their member of parliament voted. The people of Umpika would like to know how their member of parliament voted. The people of Zambia would like to know how their members of parliament voted. It is their right. Countrymen and women, we are fully aware that some members of parliament elected on the Patriotic Front ticket voted in favor of Bill number 7. And that was in total violation of party instructions and in complete betrayal of the trust bestowed upon them by the people. So whether Nelly Muti keeps that division list, it is clear that for them to get 135 votes, members of the Patriotic Front voted with them, voted for Bill 7. Let me speak plainly to the nation on this matter. The Patriotic Front knows every one of its members of parliament who was present and how they voted. We know that. We already know that. We know the ones who voted for Bill 7. So Nelly Muti's hiding of the division list does not help those members of parliament. We also know that that was the bargain that they had. They entered into a bargain that the division list shall not be published. But as heaven would have it, we know who sat in that chamber. And we know who wasn't in that chamber. And we know how those in the chamber voted. We gave clear instructions to all our members of parliament on how to vote for Bill 7. Accordingly, and with immediate effect, all Patriotic Front members of parliament who voted in favor of the unconstitutional Amendment Bill number 7 are hereby expelled from the Patriotic Front.
Leadership.
This decision is final. This decision is irreversible. We are fully alive to the fact that the UPND will protect those members of parliament. But we care less. We're better off walking alone than walking with people who have hidden knives in their bags, not knowing when they will stab us in the back, as they have done now. Especially when those knives are so long that they can stab the citizens of Zambia in their backs. All Patriotic Front structures across the country, at all levels, are hereby directed to take full and formal notice of the changed status of those individuals. We also take note that some members of parliament absented from the proceedings. While absence does not equate to endorsement, we express the hope that such decisions were made in good faith and in reference to the will of the people. History will judge every elected leader by where they stood at this defining moment. Whether they stood with the power that be or they stood with the people of Zambia. Fellow citizens, this is not the first time that PF is experiencing this. We experienced it over the National Constitution Conference in 2010. And the action we took then is the action we're taking now. When everybody thought the Patriotic Front would sink, it instead rose like a phoenix to form government only the next year, the following year in 2011. On this score, I would like to call upon all our structures across the country. The list of those members of parliament who voted for Bill 7 will soon be published. But some of you already know how your members of parliament voted. I instruct you now to identify applicants who should stand on the Patriotic Front and the Tonsi Alliance ticket in the 2026 election. Fellow citizens, constitutions are not playthings of those in power. They are sacred covenants between the people and the state. When a constitution is violated, democracy is weakened, trust is broken, and the nation itself is placed at a risk. The Patriotic Front will not be silent. We will not be complicit, and will not abandon the people of Zambia. We call upon all other opposition political parties to remain resolute and to be committed to our pursuit of democracy, constitutionalism, and the rule of law. We in the Patriotic Front offer ourselves to partner with all opposition political parties to inspire the Zambian people to continue with the struggle to emancipate our country from neo-colonialism and from tyranny and dictatorship. We are called to service. Service for mankind, and not service for ourselves. I therefore call upon all members of opposition political parties to leave behind our personal egos and interests and forge instead in the interest of the suffering majority of our people. We should continue to stand with the people of Zambia, and we should do so peacefully but firmly and fearlessly in defense of our republic. Comrade Membe was talking about those who sacrificed for multi-party democracy in 1990-91. But let's also cast our eyes even further to the lives that were lost for the emancipation of Zambia from colonialism. Did our forebears lay their lives for nothing? Did they spill their blood for nothing? Did they spill their blood before 1964 only for all the gains that were made to be reversed by the UPND regime? No. We of this generation have a responsibility to the future generation. It is our duty now to ensure that we invest everything we have in the democracy of this current generation, but more so for the future generations. I appeal to you, my dear brothers and sisters, to search your soul and ask the question, where will you be when the history is recorded? Will you be amongst those who decimated and desecrated democracy? Or will you be among those men and women whose work will have been etched on the soils of Zambia, whose sweat will see the flourishing democracy? I call upon all of us to be resilient, to be resolute. The way ahead shall not be easy, but battles are not for easy and undetermined people. What is before us is a liberation struggle to liberate our people from growing unconstitutional governance. We must stand together to give hope. The Zambians are looking up to all of you, all of us, to inspire them and to ensure that they continue to hold on to something. And that can only be faith and hope. But that hope has to be driven by some people. Be those who drive that hope. Thank you very much. May God bless the Republic of Zambia. May God bless all of us.
Thank you so much, President Lubinda. We now will take some questions, and please give us your name and the media house you represent. We take questions now. Any questions?
We want to be going to the right.
See, there are no questions. May we raise up closing and sing the national anthem.
One London, one nation is our pride. Dignity and peace lead Zambia's sky. Like a noble eagle